Let me summarize what I said the other day. Two things primarily about the essay in totality. Number one, we talked about the fact that Bacon is narrating the advantages and disadvantages of married life in this essay. And by narrating these things, what he is doing, he is describing everything on the basis of his own experiences and the observations that he has made. Now, let me begin from the line where we left the other day. Unmarried men are best friends, best masters, best servants, but not always best subjects. For they are light to run away, and almost all fugitives are of that condition. And when we talk about the fugitives, who are the fugitives? Truants, the people who run away from their homes. They are known as fugitives or truants. जो घर से भागने वाले लोग होते हैं, usually he says that they are not the married people, but usually they are the single people. So he says unmarried people are good friends. They are better than the married people as friends. They are better than the married people as masters. They are better than the married people as servant, but they may not be good as subjects. And when we talk about the subjects means that they may not follow everything that is being narrated by the master. All right. In the case of subject, what we would say that they cannot be considered in Hindi what we call good praja. They cannot be considered good praja, for they are like to run away, and almost all fugitives are of that condition because they are not steady in their behavior. Why does he say that they are not good subjects? Because they are not steady in their behavior. Their behavior keeps on changing, and very often the responsibilities assigned to them, they leave that responsibility and they run away from that. And therefore, he says that they cannot be considered good subjects. And his observation, he adds to it and says that very often all the fugitives or the truants, they are the single people. A single life doth well with churchman, for charity will hardly water the ground where it must first fill a pool. And here he is talking about the another area which may be good for a single man, and he says that a single man will prove good for priesthood. A single man will prove, or an unmarried man will prove good for priesthood, because as we know, they can prove themselves to be good priest. I was narrating to you the other day that in the case of India or in the case of Hinduism, all the saints, they are supposed to be unmarried people. All right, and indirectly, what are they? What are they? They are usually the priest of some or the other deity. It is indifferent for judges and magistrates, for if it they be facile and corrupt, you shall have a servant 5 times worse than a wife. And then he's talking about the another thing. Facile means easily influenced. Facile means easily influenced, जिसको आराम से प्रभावित किया जा सके. And it is indifferent means it is of little consequences. It is of little consequences. It is indifferent, it is of little consequences for judges and magistrates, for if they be facile. Facile means can be easily influenced and corrupt. You shall have a servant 5 times worse than a wife. And now he is making a comparison. And he says that when we talk about the unmarried people, what is true about the unmarried people? About the unmarried people, it does not matter, it hardly makes a difference for judges and magistrates, for if they be the facile and corrupt. He says that a an unmarried person will prove to be a good priest, but then he may not prove to be the other way round. And then he makes a beautiful comparison here. He says, if a judge is himself liable to be influenced and open to bribes, it makes little difference whether he is married or single. Now he says that there are certain areas. What are those certain areas? He says that there are certain areas where both married and single people may prove to be ineffective. Now, because then the comparison continues, he says that in one case, his wife, in the other, someone of his servants will encourage the corruption and benefit by it. He says in the case of the single man, it will be the servant. If the single man is corrupt, then in that case, the corruption will be encouraged by whom? The corruption will be encouraged by the servant. In case the married person is corrupt, in that case, the corruption will be encouraged by the wife who stays in the house. And he says, in most cases, you will find that corrupt servant is more mischievous than, he makes a comparison. Look at the beautiful comparison, than a wife who is instrumental in taking the bribe, or who 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 is serving the purpose, or who is an instrument, or who is a part of the mediation process of taking the bribe from the other party. So it is a beautiful comparison, and again, it is based on his own experience. As I said to you, Bacon occupied the highest post of judiciary. He was the Lord Chancellor, number one, and number two, for quite some time, he also continued to be the Attorney General of the country. For the soldiers, I find the generals commonly in their hortatives, but man in mind of their wives and children. And now here he is talking about hortatives. Hortatives means exhortations. Exhortations. When exhortations means when you are addressing someone. When you are exhortations, I exhorted him to do. किसी आदमी को जब आप किसी से काम करवाना होता है तो उसको exhort करते हो. In a way, it is a sort of what I would like to say, not invocation, because invocation is made to the deities, but in a way, when you are calling a person to do some work, that would be exhortation. I find the generals commonly in their hortatives, but man in mind of their wives and children. He says that whenever the generals are made to work, all the time what they will think about that they have to work because they have made a promise to the country. But when a married person is working all the time, he does have his wives and children in his mind, because he thinks that if he does not earn, now his wives and children will not be able to survive. Therefore, what he says, in the case of the married people, the determinants of action are the wives and the children, because all the time a married person will keep the wives and the children in mind, whereas in the case of an unmarried person who is serving as a soldier, for him it will be the exhortation that I have to work for the country will be more important. And I think the despising of marriage amongst the Turks, despising means hating. Despising of marriage amongst the Turks maketh the vulgar soldier more base. And he says he is making a better comparison, and look his his knowledge even about the Turks. Despising of marriage amongst the Turks maketh the vulgar soldiers more base. And he says that the way the Turks hate marriages, that make marriage that make a soldier more base than they in real life are. So again, what he is talking about, that in a way, the soldiers became unmarried people became more base as soldiers. Certainly, wife and children are a kind of discipline of humanity. This is what I talked about. This is what I told you the other day, because they exercise a sort of restraint upon the activity of an individual. Certainly, wife and children are a kind of discipline of humanity, and single man, though they may be many times more charitable because their means are less exhaust, yet on the other side, they are more cruel and hard hearted. Good to make severe inquisitions. Inquisitions means inquiry, because their tenderness is not so oft called upon. Tenderness means softness, oft means often, called upon means demanded. And now he is making a comparison between the married people and the single people, and what he says, and single people, single man, though they may be many times more charitable. He says it is undoubtedly true that single people are more charitable than the married people, but then they are more cruel and hard hearted also. And there is a reason for their being hard hearted, because he says that their pity, that the tenderness was never demanded from them. On the other hand, a married person has to supply tenderness to his children and wife every day. But these occasions, a soldier, or in other words, a single man will not have. इसलिए कहता है कि सिंगल आदमी जो होते हैं वो क्रूवल हार्टेड होते हैं, लेकिन वो हो सकता है वो ज्यादा, लेकिन वो क्या होते हैं, ज्यादा चैरिटेबल भी होते हैं, पुण्य का काम करने वाले होते हैं, क्योंकि बिकॉज द रिसोर्सेस हैव नॉट एग्जॉस्टेड, उनके पास स्रोत बहुत होते हैं. लेकिन ऑन द अदर हैंड, because the sources of the married people are exhausted, they don't tend to be very charitable, but then the single people are more cruel hearted in comparison to the married people. Grave natures grave natures led by custom and therefore constant are commonly loving husbands, as was said of Ulysses. And here he is talking about grave natures, and when he is talking about the grave natures, he is talking about the people who are of serious nature, grave natures. Grave natures led by custom and therefore constant are commonly loving husbands, that the persons who are led by, who do have grave temper, who do have grave temper and do believe in traditions, he says that they are usually good husbands. कहता है कि जो लोग गंभीर प्रकृति के होते हैं और परंपराओं का सम्मान करते हैं, usually they are good husbands. This is what his observation is, and that is why I said one thing very remarkable about the essays of Bacon is that he emerges as first empiricist, and therefore he is called the father of empiricism in 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 the western part of the world. It is one of the best bonds both of chastity and obedience in the wife, if she thinks her husband wise, which she will never do if she find him jealous. And here he is making a comparison between the husband and the wife. He says it is good for a wife that if he thinks that his husband is wise, but then he says that he will not think about the husband as a wise person if the husband is jealous of the wife. कहता है कि अगर हस्बैंड पत्नी से जेलसी रखता है तो पत्नी कभी भी हस्बैंड को बुद्धिमान नहीं समझेगी. Chaste women are often proud and forward. Chaste means loyal, faithful. He says faithful women are often proud and advanced. Chaste people or chaste women are often proud and advanced, as presuming upon the merit of their chastity, because they think that they are proud of their chastity, and it is this chastity that makes them proud. It is one of the best bonds both of chastity and obedience in the wife. If she thinks her husband wise, which she will never do if she find him jealous. Wives are young men's mistresses, companions for middle-aged and old men's nurses. Wives are young men's mistresses. Who are the mistresses? Mistresses are the ladies whose command is to be followed. Now, here he says wives are like young men's mistresses because they always work at their command. You must have seen the young people working at the command of the wives. So, they are young men's mistresses, companions for middle aged. They become good friends for the middle aged people, and then they become the nurses. Nurses means the person who nurse, seva susursha karne wale. And then he says that a good wife is the nurse of an old man. So, as a man may have a quarrel to marry when he will, but yet he was reputed one of the wise men that made answer to the question when a man should marry. A young man not yet, an elder man not at all. It is not seen that bad husbands have very good wives. And therefore he says, despite all this, everybody has got good reasons to marry. Everybody has got good reasons to marry. So as a man may have a quarrel to marry when he will, but yet he was reputed one of the wise men that made answer to the question when a man should marry, a young man not yet, an elder man not at all. He says everybody marries, but then if somebody happens to ask a wise man, it will be answered by the wise man that a person should not marry in the young age, and when he becomes elder, he should not marry at all. Now, when you look at the essays of Bacon, you will find that there are autobiographical elements in his essays. As I said to you, the married life of Bacon was not very happy, and therefore there are echoes from the life of Bacon in the essays that he has written. And here, these are the echoes, because as I said to you, he married twice. The first wife left him, and even the second wife, I do not know whether she deserted him or not, but then Bacon had to disinherit her. So, in both cases, his married life was not happy, and therefore perhaps he has talked about these things. But then this is true also. A young man, not yet, a young man should not marry. And when a person becomes elderly, he should not marry at all. This is what a wise man will say, but despite that, everybody marries. It is often seen that bad husbands have very good wives, whether it be that it raises the price of their husband's kindness when it comes, और बेकन कहते हैं कि ऐसा प्राय देखा गया है कि जब पति खराब होते हैं उनकी पत्नियां बहुत अच्छी होती हैं और जब पत्नियां खराब होती हैं तो उनके पति बहुत अच्छे होते हैं whether it be that it raises the price of their husbands kindness when it comes. And he says when the husbands are bad, the wife will raise their value in the society because they will be valued by the wife, not by themselves. The people will come and they will say, he doesn't know the things. But his wife takes care. She's very sensible and she's very wise. Or that the wives take a pride in their patience. Or that the wives take a pride, and if it is not there, then what the wife will think? The wife will take a pride in their patience. In whose patience? In the patience of the husband. In their patience. But this never fails if the bad husbands were of their own choosing against their friends' consent, for then they will be sure to make good their own folly. Folly means stupidity, murkta. But here, you see, look at the minute observations of Bacon. He says, but then this will not be true in case a wise woman, a good woman has picked up a bad husband. कहता है if it is by choice that if a good woman has picked up a bad husband, in that case she will not be taking a pride, neither she will be enjoying, or she will be enjoying the patience part that otherwise would be in her repository all the time. All right, so very remarkable essay. And again, I would say that basically Bacon has talked about everything on the basis of what he experienced and on the basis of what he observed. And therefore, there is nothing very new about the essay, but at the same time, I would say that in such a systematic way, Bacon has succeeded in describing the advantages and disadvantages of married life vis-a-vis the advantages and disadvantages of single life also. So if somebody happens to ask you what the writer has done in the essay of marriage and single life, you have to say that here the poet makes a difference between the married life and the single life, number one, and then he talks about the advantages and the disadvantages of married life vis-a-vis the single life. So these are the 2 points that you need to remember, and then the 5 6 other points that I gave to you, like the people who are married cannot take risk because all the time they have to bother about their wives and children. Number two, marriage is a sort of discipline on mankind because marriage exercises a restraint on the activities of an individual. Then he says very often good husbands have bad wives and bad wives have good husbands. And then he talks about the fact, the another important fact that he talks about, he says that it has been my experience that, or this is what he says, not experience, but he says that this is what I have observed in the society, that usually the married people will not take any enterprise, whether these enterprises may be either vicious or virtuous. After having talked about this, let me come to the another essay. Raj, there are four essays prescribed for you.
Yes, sir.
After having done of marriage and single life, we will take up the essay of adversity. Of adversity. Do you
Okay,
know
sir.
the meaning of this word adversity?
No, sir.
Adversity is the opposite of prosperity.
Prosperity.
Yes, opposite of prosperity.
Okay, sir.
Prosperity means samriddhi. Adversity means, in Hindi we call it vipada, right? Or vipati,
Okay,
right? So
sir.
this is what he's talking about in this essay. This is a very thought-provoking essay, विचारो तेजक लेख है. When we read the essay, what he's talking about the the comparative value of prosperity and adversity in life. He is making a comparison, and in a way what I would say that what he's talking about, he says it is through the adversity, a person who has passed through adversity will bloom like a flower in the times to come. But the person who has always enjoyed prosperity may not be so strong, may not be, may not be, what I would say, may not be very decisive about the things. But then the person who has passed through adversity will be wise enough and would be able to take a course of action that ultimately will bring him, name and fame. So he's talking about that adversity has its own virtues also. कि adversity के अपने फायदे होते हैं, विपदा के अपने फायदे होते हैं. This is what he's talking about. So this is a thought-provoking essay, and in this essay, Bacon has presented a comparative value of prosperity and adversity, prosperity and adversity in life. Comparative value, तुलनात्मक महत्व क्या है किसका? समृद्धि का और विपत्ति का, इसकी चर्चा लेखक ने इस ऐसे में की है. And he says usually our attitude is that we love prosperity and strive after it. Usually this is the human tendency, this is what he's talking about. Usually we love prosperity and strive after it. But then he says it doesn't mean that adversity does not have any virtue. Adversity has got its own virtues also. But then he says adversity has its own virtues, and there are many ways. There are many occasions on which adversity is to be admired. कहता है एडवर्जिटी के अपने गुण होते हैं और कई ऐसे मौके आते हैं जहां एडवर्जिटी की प्रशंसा की जानी चाहिए. Because as I said to you, it is through adversity that we learn and we take a lesson from that event and succeed in making us a good man. That is why he is talking about that even adversity is virtuous. And he says, therefore, good things that belong to adversity are to be admitted and admired. All right, what he says, that the good things that belong to adversity are to be admitted and admired. And then he talks about another fact, that the hidden virtues of a man will come out only during the time of adversity, not during the prosperous times. अगर किसी आदमी के छिपे हुए गुण हैं तो वो एडवर्सिटी के समय में बाहर निकलते हैं, प्रोस्पेरिटी के समय में नहीं. And in that case, those virtues, those hidden virtues, they are working as miracles. They are working as miracles because those virtues make that person work better and therefore miracles. And he says there is another side of thing. He says whenever we are prosperous, what does prosperity do? Prosperity shows the seeds of vice. ये बुराई के बीज को बोती है prosperity. Prosperity बुराई के बीज को बोती है, जबकि वो कहता है whereas adversity fosters the virtue. He says that adversity will foster the virtue. Adversity क्या करती है? गुणों को पोषित करती है. So these are the things that he has talked about in this essay. Do you write what I speak, Raj?
Yes, sir.
Do
Yes.
you write, or should I give you the notes? So write down some 4 5 points. I will speak it out to you so that, and very slowly take your pen and then make a
Yes.
note of the things which I have spoken of
Yes, sir.
adversity. Right, of adversity. Number one,
Okay, sir.
point number one. In a way, it will constitute the main ideas of the essay. Right.
Yes, sir.
This is a thought-provoking essay. This is a thought-provoking essay.
Provoking essay.
Full stop.
Yes, sir.
It presents the comparative value. It presents the comparative value of prosperity.
It presents the.
It presents the comparative value.
Okay, sir.
Comparative value. COMPARATIVE. Comparative value of prosperity. PROSPERITY.
Okay, sir.
Prosperity and adversity in life. ADVERSITY. Adversity in life.
Yes, sir.
Full stop. Full stop. Generally,
Yes.
Generally, we love prosperity. We love prosperity and
Yes.
strive after it. And strive after it.
Yes, sir.
Right? So, this is point number one. Now, point number two.
Okay, sir.
Adversity, however,
Yes, sir.
has its own virtues, has its own virtues,
Virtues.
and in many ways, and in many ways,
Many ways.
need to be admired, need to be admired.
Admired. Yes, sir.
Full stop. So this is point number two.
Okay,
यह
sir.
क्या कहता है? लेखक कह रहा है कि एडवर्जिटीज के अपने गुण होते हैं और इन गुणों के लिए एडवर्जिटी की प्रशंसा की जानी चाहिए.
Yes, sir.
Number three. Now point number three. Good things that belong to adversity, good things that belong to adversity are to be admitted, are to be admitted and admired, are to be admitted and admired,
Admired.
are to be admitted and admired.
Okay, sir.
Right? Next
Yes.
point. The hidden virtues of man, the hidden virtues of man, a man, and when he's talking about man, he means individual, right?
Okay,
It may
sir.
be a male or a female. The hidden virtues of man come out and impress us.
And
Impress, IMPRESS, प्रभावित
princess.
करना. Impress us like miracles, चमत्कार, MIRACLES, miracles in the times of adversity.
Times
In
of.
the times of adversity.
Yes, sir.
राइट. सो कहता है हमारे जो गुण होते हैं एडवर्जिटी के समय में बाहर निकलते हैं और वो हमें चमत्कारों की तरह से प्रभावित करते हैं. राइट. नाउ नेक्स्ट पॉइंट.
Yes, sir.
प्रोस्पेरिटी शोज, SOWS, बीज बोना. प्रोस्पेरिटी, PROSPERITY, prosperity shows, SOWS, the seeds of vice, the seeds of vice,
Wise. Wise.
vice, VICE, अवगुण,
Okay, sir.
अवगुण. While adversity, while adversity fosters virtue, while adversity fosters virtue.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so these are the major points about this essay. It's not again a very long essay like of marriage and single life. This is also a small essay, even smaller than of marriage and single life, containing only almost a page.
Yes, sir.
So the essay opens with the speech of Seneca. Are you aware of the name Seneca? It was a high speech of Seneca. Seneca was a famous Roman philosopher. Who
Okay,
was
sir.
Seneca? He was a famous Roman philosopher
Okay, sir.
and tragedian also. दुखांत नाटक भी सेनेका ने लिखे हैं. वो दार्शनिक भी था और दुखांत नाटककार भी था. After the manner of the Stoic, that the good things which belong to prosperity are to be best, but the good things that belong to adversity are to be admired. And he says, he opens the essay with an observation of Seneca, and he says what Seneca has said, he agrees with him, and he says that the good things which belong to prosperity are to be desired. कहता है अच्छी चीजें जिनका संबंध प्रॉस्पेरिटी से है उनकी इच्छा की जानी चाहिए, but the good things that belong to adversity are to be admired. He says that the good things that belong to adversity, they are to be appreciated, they are to be praised, and they are to be admired. कहता है ऐसी अच्छी चीजें जिनका संबंध एडवर्जिटी से है उनकी प्रशंसा की जानी चाहिए. Certainly, if miracles be the command over nature, they appear most in adversity. Certainly, if miracles means miraculous achievements, चमत्कार या चमत्कारिक उपलब्धियां. Certainly, if miracles be the command over nature, they appear most in adversity. कहता usually if we make an observation of the things happening around us, we shall find that usually the miraculous achievements they happen during the time of adversity. कहता है हमारी चमत्कारिक उपलब्धियां कब होती हैं? एडवर्जिटी के दौरान होती हैं, प्रोस्पेरिटी के दौरान नहीं. And therefore what he talks about the fact that miracles consist in subduing nature. When we talk about these miracles, it seems that they subdue the nature, but then usually these miraculous achievements they come out during the time of adversity. कहता है हमारी चमत्कारिक उपलब्धियां प्राय विपत्ति के काल में होती हैं, एडवर्जिटी के काल में होती हैं. It is yet a higher speech of his than the other, much too high for a heathen. It is true greatness to have in one the frailty of a man. Frailty means weakness, kamjori, and the security of a god. And then he is again quoting Seneca, and he goes further and says, it is true greatness to have in one the frailty of a man. He says that the first one, prosperity brings frailty in a man. Prosperity क्या करती है? आदमी को कमजोर करती है. जबकि adversity क्या करती है? It brings the security of God. Adversity उसके पास क्या लाती है? ईश्वर की सुरक्षा उसको मुहैया करवाती है, उपलब्ध करवाती है. And therefore he says that the person who is passing through adversity will always enjoy the blessings of the Almighty. This would have done better in poesy where transcendences are more allowed, and the poets indeed have been busy with it. This would have been better in poesy. Poesy means poetry, where transcendences, and transcendences here means exaggerations. Exaggerations का मतलब अतिशयोक्ति are more allowed, and he says it has been very well appreciated in poetry. Means what he means to say that this sort of thing you will find in poetry. Poetry will tell you that prosperity makes you, or prosperity weakens a person, whereas adversity strengthens a person. And the poets indeed have been busy with it, for it is in effect the things which is figured in that strange fiction of the ancient poets, which seemeth not to be without misery. Misery, when we talk about misery, we talk about the hidden meaning. Misery का मतलब ऐसे दुख होता है, but here we are talking about, here Bacon has made use of the word in the sense of hidden meaning. Nay, and to have some approach to the state of a Christian, that Hercules, when he went to unbind Prometheus, by whom human nature is represented, sailed the length of the great ocean in an earthen pot or pitcher, lively describing Christian resolution that saileth in the frail bark of the flesh through the waves of the world. And now here is he's talking about, he is quoting from the mythology, from Christian myth. He says that there is a myth, and what that myth is, Hercules, you must be aware of Hercules. Hercules was a renowned Greek hero. Who was Hercules? Hercules was a renowned Greek hero, and it is being said that it was he who liberated Prometheus. There is a myth. It is being said that Hercules liberated Prometheus. Now, what is the story? The story goes like this, that the Titan who stole fire from heaven and gave to man for the welfare of mankind. टाइटन ने क्या किया हेवन से आग को चुराया और मनुष्य को दे दिया, जिससे मानवता का कल्याण हो. Now for this act of the for this was the act against God, and therefore for this act against God's command, Jupiter bound him and kept him in prison or in the chains. And where he was kept in the mount. The name of the mount was Caucasus. He was chained, but for this act, because he stole the fire for the benefit of humanity. And since it was the violation of the command of God, Jupiter bounded him and he kept him in the chains or in the prison on the mount. The name of the mount was Caucasus, and the spelling is Caucasus. Now, it is being said that when he was being bound, who? Prometheus, because he had stolen the fire, it is being said that Hercules liberated him. Hercules unchained him, he liberated him from there. And therefore, Hercules stands for Christian fortitude. Hercules stands for Christian fortitude. Fortitude. अच्छे कार्य के लिए Christian fortitude, and Prometheus for human nature. Prometheus, human nature, because what is the human nature? The human nature is that every human being will do the things that suits him, that makes the things more easy for him, that makes the things more comfortable for him. All right, so this is what the nature of a human being is. So here Hercules symbolizes Christian fortitude, whereas when we look at Prometheus, he stands for human nature. Now, Achilles was a famous Greek tragedian. He has written a tragedy, and the name of the tragedy is Prometheus Unbound. This is the tragedy that he wrote, Prometheus Unbound. And in this tragedy, it is on this episode that he wrote a tragedy. And Shelley also wrote a poetical play that is called Prometheus Unbound. That was Prometheus Bound, and this was Prometheus Unbound. Prometheus Bound was the play that was written by Achilles. Remember the name of these plays because you will not find them elsewhere. Prometheus Bound was the play written by Achilles, and Achilles was a Greek tragedian, whereas Prometheus Unbound is a poetical play written by P.B. Shelley. Right, so let us go back what he's talking about. He says, now by giving this example, he says that prosperity can be attained only through adversity. When you want to attain prosperity, you have to pass through adversity. It is a journey through adversity that will bring you prosperity. Let us look at it. The virtue of prosperity is temperance. He says that the virtue of prosperity is temperance. What is the virtue of prosperity? The virtue of prosperity is temperance. The virtue of prosperity is temperance. The virtue of adversity is fortitude. And then he says that the virtue of adversity is fortitude. He is talking about it at length, but in a very, very brief, let me say, the style. Bacon says is a remarkable for brevity, so he is making very small sentences, and the small sentences which are replete with abundance of meaning, which in morals is the more heroical virtue. He says prosperity brings you temperance, whereas adversity brings you fortitude. But then he says when we compare the two, then we will find that fortitude is more heroical a virtue in comparison to the virtue of temperance. Adversity is the blessing of the new, prosperity is the blessing of the Old Testament, adversity is the blessing of the new. He says prosperity has been talked about and it has been said in the Old Testament. This is one of the books, religious books of Christians, and it is the Old Testament that talks about the blessing of prosperity, whereas it is the New Testament that talks about the blessings of adversity, which carry the greater benediction. Benediction means generosity. Benediction means generosity or blessing, and the clear revelation of God's favor. He says it is the adversity that always carries the blessings of God, and it is through adversity that God reveals his favor. That God reveals his favor. Yet, even in the Old Testament, if you listen to David's harp, you shall hear as many hairs like airs as carols, and the pencil of the Holy Ghost hath labored more in describing the afflictions. Afflictions means tortures, troubles of Job's than the felicities. Felicities means anand, pleasures of Solomon. Now he says that as far as the literature is concerned, you will find that people have written more about the virtues of adversity rather than about the virtues of prosperity. Again, he is referring to the two mythical figures. And what are those mythical figures? David and Solomon. And he says that the pleasures of Solomon have not been talked about much. But on the other hand, if you look at the adversity of David, that has been talked about, that has been much appreciated in the literary work of art. Prosperity is not without many fears and distastes, and adversity is not without comforts and hopes. And then he says, and prosperity is not without many fears and distastes. He says, prosperity also has got its own fears and distastes also. Even during the time of prosperity, you need to have some very bitter taste, and adversity is not without comforts and heroes. And he says, and adversity is not without comfort and hopes. Adversity also bring comfort and hope. And in fact, as you find in your life also, everything that is pleasuresome, that passes through adversity. All right, and it is the adversity that in the long run makes you more comfortable. We see in needleworks and embroideries, it is more pleasing to have a lively work than a sad and solemn ground. Solemn ground means here it is referring to the piece of cloth. Piece of cloth. He is talking about embroidery and needlework. कसीदाकारी की और निडल वर्क की बात कर रहा है यहाँ पर लेखक. Than to have a dark and melancholy work upon a lightsome ground. He says, when we see in needlework and embroideries, it is more pleasing to have a lively work upon a sad and solemn ground. वो कहता है कि जब हम कसीदाकारी करते हैं, निडल वर्क करते हैं, उस स्थिति में अगर बैकग्राउंड यानी कि हमारा कपड़ा अगर सोलेम कलर का हो, सोलेम गंभीर, सैड यानी कि थोड़ा ब्लैकिश हो, ग्रे हो, तो उसकी ब्यूटी ज्यादा अच्छी होती है, बजाय उसके than to have a dark and melancholy work upon a lightsome ground. बजाय उसके जब हम एक डार्क काम को करते हैं, किस पर करते हैं, एक लाइटसम बैकग्राउंड पर। यानी कि एक लाइटसम बैकग्राउंड पर, लाइटसम कपड़े पर अगर हम ब्लैक वर्क करते हैं, कसीदाकारी करते हैं या निडल वर्क करते हैं, दैट विल नॉट बी सो इम्प्रेसिव। सो व्हाट ही मीन्स टू से इज दैट द ornamentation, that the refinement that adversity brings in one is immense, that may not be possible in the case of prosperity. Judge therefore of the pleasure of the heart by the pleasure of the eye. Judge therefore of the pleasure of the heart by the pleasure of the eye. And therefore he says, let us we need to judge the pleasure of the heart by the pleasure of the eye. Because all the time you can see the pleasure of the eye through prosperity, but you can see the pleasure of heart only in the times of adversity. कहता हार्दिक प्रसन्नता आपको एडवर्जिटी के समय में प्राप्त उपलब्धि से होती है, जबकि जब हम बात करते हैं प्रॉस्पेरिटी की, तो एडवर्जिटी से ठीक विपरीत प्रॉस्पेरिटी में हमें क्या होता है, हमें वह प्रसन्नता प्राप्त नहीं होती है जो हम एडवर्जिटी में कार्य करते हैं और हमें उपलब्धि प्राप्त होती है तो होती है। Certainly virtue is like precious odors. Odors means smell, fragrance. कहता है वर्च्यू उस प्रेशियस ओडर की तरह से है, स्मेल की तरह से है, गंध की तरह से है। मोस्ट फ्रेग्रेंट व्हेन दे आर इंसेंस्ड और क्रस्ट। कहता है ये इसमें और खुशबू आती है जब उनको क्रश किया जाता है। फूल को, खुशबू को क्या करते हो, यू हैव ए फ्लावर इन योर हैंड and that flower is giving you fragrance. Now you crush that flower and more fragrance will come out of it. Similarly, he says that it is during the adversity that one one is able to bloom to the maximum extent possible, कि आदमी बहुत हद तक क्या करने में सफल होता है, ब्लूम करने में सफल होता है, अपनी प्रसिद्धि प्राप्त करने में सफल होता है। Certainly virtue is like precious odors, most fragrant when they are incensed or crushed, for prosperity doth best discover vice, but adversity doth best discover virtue. For prosperity doth best discover vice, कहता है prosperity क्या करती है, vice को discover करती है। Prosperity doth best discover vice, but adversity doth best discover virtue. It is your virtue that comes out during the time of adversity. For example, you tend to be very tender. You tend to be very, what I would say, a person of helping nature during the time of adversity. So it is the adversity that brings out your virtues. But it is during the time of prosperity that you tend to be vicious, you become jealous, you become cruel hearted, you treat the people not with sensitivity but with insensitivity. So he says, he concludes the essay by saying, it is the adversity that brings virtues and it is the prosperity that brings vice, and thereby prosperity makes a person vicious and adversity makes a person virtuous. And here, if we go to our Shastras, we shall find Ravan was very prosperous. Ravan was very prosperous. He had seen ample prosperity. So, what prosperity brought to him? What prosperity brought to him? Burai or the vice? On the other hand, Rama is the epitome. He has to go to the forest. He has to face so many adversities, and that brings out virtues from the Lord Rama. Now, this is what he has talked about here. And then
Yes.
this essay comes to an end, right? Very remarkable essay, very appealing essay. Read this essay. In brief, what the writer has tried to convey is the fact that adversity has its own virtues. Adversity के अपने गुण होते हैं. It is the adversity that brings your virtues, and it is the prosperity that brings out your vices. And therefore, one should have The implication being that one should have the moments of adversity also, because thereby one shall be able to bloom fully in one's life. Right? Thank you so much. I stop
Thank you,
it
sir.
here. We will continue tomorrow with the next essay, whatever the essay is. There are two more essays. One essay we
Yes,
will take up tomorrow, and the other one day after tomorrow. And maybe then I will discuss a little bit about Bacon as a prose writer, or as an essayist, or Bacon's, what is Bacon's style, and then I will go to the final unit. Right?
okay, sir.
So maybe that by 20th of May, we would be able to complete the course.
Okay,
Okay?
sir. Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
brother. Have a nice day. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.